Hi, everybody. We're back.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. We have Dan. Say hi, Dan, with us today.
Hi, everybody.
We have Metoka. Say
Hi there. Hi, everybody.
So they're with us today to continue our discussion about the state of the world right now as we chug very, very quickly up to Election Day. It's coming up. And we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to get a little bit more in depth about what we talked about on the last episode. And this is going to be more of a personal take than what we did yesterday. I'm sorry, what we did in our last episode. Today is October 17th, and it's my husband Tino's birthday. Happy birthday!
That's right.
Happy birthday, Tinos!
Yeah, and in the past we've toilet papered his office.
I love it.
Tried to
But you
scare him.
can't do that in the COVID era. It's too valuable.
I know.
and we toilet papered everything. The mouse, the pen, each individual pen, the pictures on the wall.
It was hysterical.
Oh my
There's
God.
a video somewhere.
Yeah,
with
I'll have to find
it.
it.
Was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
Many moons.
So today we're going to take a bunch of balloons and stuff to the dealership and embarrass the hell out of them. Can't wait.
Perfect.
He'll love it. He'll love every bit of it.
He will.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So,
well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day, guys, to just be here. You know, I know that we all have things to do, but I do know that this is a passion project in and of itself, because we want to get this out prior to, election. It's our hopes that with these little episodes that people get, really feel encouraged to vote. Now, I guess I really want to ask, what are some of your reasons for voting? Why is it important to you guys? Whoever wants to start.
I'll start.
Okay.
First and foremost, it goes back to history. And actually, Black people haven't been able to vote in my lifetime. And when you hear about what people went through to vote, I'm like, who am I to not? Because people suffered and died for the right for me to vote, and I'm going to use that right every chance I get.
Right.
It kind of goes back to Nicole made a post. I'm sorry, and she said it so well.
You want me to find it?
Yeah, Nicole's gonna find it because I thought I saved it and I didn't.
Right there.
Here it is. It says, if you are my friend and you're not voting, that's a huge fucking slap in my face. Give me one good reason you can't vote. Your vote matters. And I thought that was so.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Profound.
Yeah. So, and for me, same reason, Metoka, plus my parents were very politically, I want to say politically active. They didn't run for office or anything, but politics was very important in my household when I was growing up. And we wouldn't have even been allowed to consider not voting when we turned 18. So I believe I've hit every single election. And there were lots of years I lived overseas, and I still made sure that I did my voting from over there as well. It is very important. And also, with the way our country is right now, if we don't vote, we only have ourselves to blame, right?
Yeah.
We can't complain. We can't complain if we're not there, even if we have to stand in line, which I will do if I need to, or else you can't nag or have too much to say if you're not going to take the time to vote. So I'm going to be there.
And I think that's why we're in the situation that we're in, because there are a lot of people that thought, oh, my girl's got it. I don't have to worry about it. And they stayed home, and here we are 4 years later.
Here we are. Yeah. And with the threat of it happening for another 4 years is uncomfortable. Yeah. Can't even.
Well, and it's easy to, in California, because California is predominantly leans Democratic. So it's really easy for us here to say, oh, you know, my one vote isn't going to matter. But one vote and somebody else's one vote, and you know, it all adds up. And we've seen elections that have come down to a handful of votes. So it is vitally important.
I also think of it from the standpoint, people need to vote just purely for the numbers, because right now I'm not a fan of the Electoral College. I don't understand how we pick everybody but the presidency by the popular vote. So we've now had 2 presidents that have won without the popular vote. And the last time it was millions of votes. And I feel like the more people that vote, if this keeps happening, then we can keep showing that minority is ruling our country. And that is why we are in the spot that we're in. I mean, I won't even get into the Supreme Court. That's just like a whole other conversation.
We touched on that the other episode, and it was like, wow, it's just interesting really when it comes down to it. When I look at voting, right, there are so many other layers to how people get into office here in the United States versus like student council back in high school, right? You know, like just you count all the ballots and whoever gets the most wins. Right. So
and that's Sheena had told us yesterday how the Electoral College works, and how it's a collective thing and not you know, they're not matching up into individual votes, but I didn't know that about them, and she explains it way better than I can. And we need, back when the Electoral College was created, okay, fine, but you know, here we are, it's 2020, we're going into 2021. This is a progressive nation, and in only certain ways, and it seems like it's not in the ways that matter the most. And
well, can I ask you a question about the Electoral College? Because this was my understanding.
Oh, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
No, based on what your friend said, based on what
we probably don't even remember. But go
again. You missed it, Metoka. Prior to us actually starting this, I was explaining to Dan, when Lauren and I put both of our brains together, it maybe comes up to a quarter. Maybe a quarter of a brain.
No, but this is easy. This is easy. I had heard not too long ago, and maybe it was on the radio, that we have the Electoral College because back in the day, you had electors who would go to Washington to see who this was that they were putting up for office, because, you know, we didn't have the internet and whatnot, so people couldn't do the work for themselves. So they had electors go and check the person out. Okay, he's not crazy. This is what he likes. And they would go back to Rhode Island, you know, Vermont, wherever, and tell them what they saw and about the person, so they had an idea of who they were voting for.
Oh, wow, she didn't tell
that was my understanding as well. I don't know if that's just folktale or not, but
I don't know. Well. I mean,
she didn't tell us that.
What she spoke of yesterday, and this is what I can quasi remember back in school, was that the Electoral College was constructed to basically take the populace, right, of the state, and they wanted to use the advantage of the Black people that were there, right? But instead of giving them
the right to vote,
they just said, okay,
counted their numbers.
Yeah, they counted their numbers, and they said, okay, based on this number of people, you know, this state gets, you know, how many votes, right? And I guess what it was is like the whole 2/3, like a Black person was worth 2/3 of a vote,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Is that your house?
I think that's my Amazon order.
What will we do without it?
So here's something I've been thinking about with regard to the Electoral College lately. It's that when a situation is set up where someone can lose by 3 million votes or 3.5 million, whatever that was, this last election was, when you lose by that much, it kind of takes away your mandate to be able to lead a country, right? Because now we're in a scenario, well, the person who won the election is not our president. So now somebody else is. So I don't really think that I want to listen to you. You know what I'm saying? It sets somebody up you know,
To
like
fail.
I'm in the business sector, as you know, you all are, and there's that thing, setting somebody up for success. And that does not set the president up for success, because now you have a majority of the country that feels that you are not the president.
Right.
So, and then when you follow up by being an asshat of a president, everything, it all falls apart.
You're completely screwed at that point.
Yes.
As well you should be. Yeah.
No, totally agree.
Yeah. What it boils down to, it's like my dad used to always say, and I mentioned this last night, whoever gets the most points wins. Except in a presidential election.
It's like, make that make sense. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. So the Electoral College needs to be taken care of, but there's other priorities right now. The only way, and I listen to Steve Harvey in the mornings, and he said the only way this is going to work, everybody has to vote, because we have to win by a landslide. It cannot be close. Can be a little bit close. It has to be a landslide. And for that to happen, if everybody goes out to vote, then there'll be no question. There'll be no, oh, the Electoral College is taking over, or any other excuse that he's going to come up with. It must be a landslide. And for it to be a landslide, we all have to go out to vote. We all have to do our part.
And don't let those polls fool you. Because we've done that once before, and I still have PTSD for that.
What happened?
That 11 points that they say
that
is
Hillary
the difference. Run through the tape is what they say. Like when you used to run track, you keep going to the end.
Over.
I don't care what. Exactly.
Yep. And there's enough videos on that. People say, "Oh, I got it," and then somebody comes up from behind it.
Or they trip and fall. Exactly.
You ain't got it, bro. So we all, and it's encouraging now. I mean, at this point in the primaries in 2016, 1 million people had gone out to vote. Now we've got like lines wrapped around. They're saying so far something like 12 million people have voted.
12, 13 million. Yeah.
We're way, way, way ahead of the game. But we haven't hit that finish line yet, line. And make no mistake, if he, and one thing I don't want to get into, and I said this on our last episode, I don't want to get into predictions like the polls. And I've never, ever, ever in my life believed in polls. I'm like, who are you? You know, what is this? The Yahoo, I'm an idiot poll? Well, what, you know, and where are they getting these people?
Well, and I think a lot of it is by design created for, you know, the media to get people to think a certain way. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's so true. I agree.
You know, I mean, it's just like anything, like, you know, especially with like COVID, for instance, you know, how people in the very beginning were like really frightened by things. And as soon as they got to at least understand stuff, it wasn't as scary once they understood things, right? Ignorance is bliss to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, I wanted to go back though to your point, if you don't mind, for just 1 second, about it has to be an overwhelming victory, because I keep likening it to the release of the Mueller report. So the report was given to a select group of people, and then they started to pitch it in the media of what it really was. So when it came out, we realized that what had been pitched to us for 2 weeks wasn't really the truth. But by that point, it was too late. Everyone thought there's nothing there. So they were masterful at just really squashing what that report was going to do. And I feel like if we don't have an overwhelming victory, if this goes into a recount of several weeks, then they so easily could do the same thing. Yeah. So for those 2 or 3 weeks that things are being counted, you know, a new, whatever their plans are to transition to their next term could be taking place. And by the time the real results come out, it could be too late, because the country has now been convinced that no, the election went a certain way and that's it. So I'm worried about that lag time between the election and the actual, verified results being put out.
Yeah.
So again, to your point, if there's an overwhelming victory, it's going to be really much harder to pitch in a certain way.
It is, and it's just going to be it's just like in a football game when, it's down to the wire and a questionable call is made
Mhm.
that swings the game.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that a legal call? Is that not a legal call? Is this call up for interpretation? No call should be up for interpretation. It's going to be the exact same thing in the election.
I just know
And-
curtain calls. Is that the same?
No,
Okay.
curtain calls are a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes, people
Well,
are
I mean, I
clapping at
guess
you
a
and
call.
loving you.
the more the merrier.
Oh my
Right?
God.
So yeah, it just comes down to it. We all got to do this. We absolutely all. I was talking to a friend and she said, oh no. She said, I went out. She said, I was the only one in my house registered. And I told everybody in my house, if you're not registered, you can pack your bags. So I went out and I registered everyone, sign here, sign here,
Right.
sign here.
Good for
sign
her.
here. Yep.
Mhm.
And
Good
she
for
said,
her.
and that's what we're going to do with our ballots. And we're going to sit down, and when it's getting done. They're going to give them
Absolutely.
to me. I'm going to go drive. I said,
Mhm.
that is the commitment right there.
Mhm.
That's the commitment.
Yeah.
That
5 people
and
at a time.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think everything happens for a reason, right? And I
Mhm.
think that this year, think about it. How many people's minds do you think changed that election day is not the only day to vote?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think like that. So they were like, I'm busy on that day. I got too much to do. I can't, I got to work, blah, blah, blah. To them, election day is the only day you can vote.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now they've changed the narrative and they're calling it a voting season. And they've
Mhm.
incorporated the early
Right.
voting so that everybody knows your state has early voting and you just need to go online and check out and see when it is. And if you can't do early voting, I mean, we've had drop boxes forever in the
Mhm.
state of California. I don't know about Nevada,
Mhm.
but did I say that right? Nevada. Yes.
Yeah,
You
you
did.
did. Nevada.
We've had drop boxes, but I will tell you right here where I live,
Mhm.
there are 3 drop boxes within a mile and a half of me.
That's awesome.
Are they real ones or?
Yeah,
They
right.
are official. Not
With duct
I
tape.
know, right?
Do you want to hear something?
Official.
I saw something on the news last night and it was just unbelievable. There was a square trash can with, a lid so you like throw trash from the sides, but they taped a vote this way and with an arrow at the bottom. So people were throwing their ballots into the trash can because of the sign, even though the sign was leading people to the real voting location. Yeah, I'm just like, well, number one, you're dumb if you threw your ballot away. So number two,
You didn't need to vote.
They voted
You
for
didn't
Trump.
need- you didn't need
Those
to
people
vote.
voted for
we
Trump.
don't need your vote. We don't need your
Yeah, we're
vote.
good.
Oh man.
Anyway, it was unbelievable.
That's
Wow.
hilarious. Yeah.
That's the sad part, the shenanigans that go on.
Yeah.
And that probably was just for real. Somebody didn't realize that people would be so
Mhm.
Stupid.
non-thinking.
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice.
So,
Oh my God.
hopefully we win. Between November and January, whatever date, inauguration day in,
Worried.
seatbelts on,
Yes.
It's going to be
crash
scorched earth.
helmets on. It is
Yes.
going to be fugly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
All hell is going to break loose in that very, very short period of time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I am willing, and all of us should be willing to go through those 3 months to get to the other side, because you got to go through the crap to get to the other side. And we're going to have to go through it, and we're just going to have to tighten up our buttholes, and he is going to have a field day.
He's going to have at it. Come on, think about it. He's
Mhm.
fighting for survival, because
Mhm.
technically with all he's done,
Mhm.
he should be in jail.
Yeah.
And he
needs
would
to
be in jail.
Yeah.
He
And
The
he
stakes
knows
are very
that.
high. Stakes are very high for him, and he has
Mhm.
nothing to lose
Mhm.
by just going full
That
blast
shit.
at this.
Yeah.
It's going to be scorched earth. It's going to be scorched earth. Get ready for it.
Totally. It's gonna be epic. It's going to be like nothing that's ever happened anywhere in history, and it's gonna suck. It's really gonna suck. But we're gonna have to we're gonna have to go through it. I wanted to, and I wasn't gonna bring it up last night, and I'm actually glad I did, so I'm gonna bring it up now. So I've been struggling big time, especially after I got sick. Between that time and I was struggling because I was trying to figure out a way to deal with it, because I knew I had to figure out a way to deal with it. I couldn't keep going on feeling the way I was feeling and not dealing with it. So
you mean your COVID? Are you talking about COVID?
Yeah, after I
Okay.
had COVID, and probably like, I don't know, a couple 3 weeks ago, I don't know. I've had this deep feeling of, I don't want to be an American anymore. I don't want to claim this as my country. I don't want to say, when people ask me where I'm from, I don't want to have to say America, because that if I said anything else, it would be a lie. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to. It was actually around 4th of July, because I remember telling people, they're like, oh, what are you doing for 4th of July? And I was telling people, that's not my Independence Day. Juneteenth is my Independence Day. July 4th is not my Independence Day. So it's something that I've been struggling with. And I've been talking to Tinos about us actually leaving the country. But I have my mom here, and I can't leave the country. I cannot, while she's alive, I can't leave her here. She's alienated everyone else.
Yeah, that's for another podcast.
That's another
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly.
Mommy issues 5.0.
Yeah. So I can't leave, but I promise you, if one thing's for sure, if it wasn't for my mom, we can actually sell this house after June. We would be making plans right now to leave the country.
That's not fair though. See, you have an out because your husband is from overseas.
Right.
I can't get to see my niece and nephew. It's killing me. Dennis can go see his babies, but I can't go see them. And it's killing me. We can't leave. Nobody wants us. We cannot leave.
Nobody
the
wants,
country.
right?
Nobody wants
So
us.
Lauren,
Right.
I can't blame them.
There's so much to unpack in what you just said, and it makes makes me sad that you're feeling that way. But a couple of things, just off the top of my head, I like to believe that we are the America. We are the true America. We're the America that cares for each other and believes in equality and such. And I don't believe the others. They're representing parts of a war that they lost. Right. So we are the true America. That's part one. Part two is I was actually in Europe until, going back and forth on business, but I was there for several weeks until I had to come home when COVID started. The whole thing blew up. And one thing that and not only this past trip, but many trips, I've been back and forth many times over the last couple of years. And no one has ever said to me, even in those countries that are traditionally not as kind to Americans, no one has ever said to me, you stupid Americans, or, what are you doing over there? They've always targeted the president. They've said, your president is this and your president is that. And so that, that always makes me feel like when we do make a switch and we have somebody in office that is more deserving of international respect, that we will gain our friends back and gain our status back. And I think we'll go back to a better place, because I don't think, it's just my personal opinion, I don't think the world is looking at us like we have done something bad. I mean, we took a chance on someone. I didn't vote for him. So when I say we, I mean, we as a country took a chance on this person that came in and was going to mix things up. And I mean, let's look at him. He is the next step from, our love for Jerry Springer. Right? Our Jerry Springer episodes that we love so much. And yes, I watch them every day. Our next step is we got a president that was that. He has brought that. And to be honest, I love watching him because he's a train wreck. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what he's going to say. He says the things that, yeah, exactly. Get the popcorn. Get the popcorn. He's fascinating to watch. And I think people were just fooled that, that fascinating person was going to be like this amazing president that's going to shake things up. But I really feel like the pendulum is swinging back the other way, and I think we'll find ourselves in a better place, hopefully in 4 months, worst case scenario in 4 years. But the pendulum, I think, is swinging.
I think.
Go ahead, Metoka.
I was going to say, I think people are tired of all the drama too. I think it's just kind of overwhelming for a lot of people. It's like it's a pandemic. I lost my job. Now I no longer have health care. And all the talk is not about any of that. And I'm just tired and I'm worried for myself and my family.
Yeah.
So I think people are just done. They're like, maybe it was like a television show for the first 3 years, but at this point they're like, okay, I'm over it.
I think the thing that makes me feel the way I feel is that for centuries we've lived in this country where we've been treated as second-class citizens, and it's always been there. It's always been under the surface. And I think his presidency has brought it to the surface and way beyond that, and has exposed some things. It has exposed a lot in my own personal life. It has exposed a lot of people and their true feelings and how they feel. I think on the whole, it has exposed this country as to what it really is. And that's what I don't like. And that's what I don't want to have any part of, because that's not going to go away in my lifetime. I've had thoughts of, if I leave, then they win. I've had thoughts of, yeah, but I don't have to put up with this shit anymore because I'm sick of putting up with this shit. And I know what it's like to live outside the country where I flat out don't have to deal with that. I know what that feels like in my heart and my core. I know what that feels like. And to go somewhere else and be treated better than my own freaking country, why is this even my country? So I think his presidency has truly exposed something in this country that has always been there and will always be there. My decision has to be, how can I, now that it's like flat out out in the open on a huge scale, which is a good thing because then there can be healing. But do I want, I'm having a really hard time with this. I'm really having a hard time with this. Already we've decided once we retire, which is, we're 12 years away from that. Once we retire, we'll use this as our base and we're going to travel. It's a big, fat, huge world.
Absolutely.
That's what people do one of the things people do when they retire. But now
with your own personal bubble.
But now it's like, do I want to deal with this? But I'm just having such a hard time with it. And just recently I've embraced the fact that I'm having a hard time with it and I'm dealing with it on that level, which is making it easier for me to not go into the supermarket and look at people like, it's gotten to that point for me. But now that I've said, girl, this is how you feel, your feelings are your feelings.
Valid.
You're gonna
valid too.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to deal with it because A, you can't go anywhere right now, and B, even if you could go somewhere right now, would that even be? I'm like selling my part, having Sean buy me out. I'm been really seriously thinking right down to the logistics of this, and but I'm still struggling with it.
Yeah, and I think it's really sad because
I don't think I'm the only one.
And I was just gonna say, she's not the only one. I've had, Sheena, and she I remember maybe like a couple weeks ago, like she was really distraught. She was really distraught, crying, and just like, and for all of these things that are happening, everything's mounting, right? We have this whole COVID thing, having to be on quarantine, having to deal with the struggles with being a minority and being a woman, the political environment, all these things like were really affecting her. And, she was just you know, so distraught with everything. And so, yeah, I mean, you're not the only one. And I think, you know, where it comes down to it, I agree with what Dan was saying, that we are the American collective. Like, as much as, you know, this is the individual that is running our country right now. I'm not going to say that that's, you know, like, yeah, he's representing the country, but he's not who I am, you know, and we're stronger as people. And, you know, there is a uniqueness to us being Americans, you know, that could be good or not so good, you know.
Uniqueness can be a good thing or not a good thing.
Right. Well, we also have to remember that we're a young country.
Yes.
You compare us to anywhere in Europe, this is a 250 some odd year experiment. And it started off, you know, with the slavery and things of that nature, and women didn't have the right to vote. It started off like that, but we've been progressing. The problem is we're getting older and we're going to die. But I think my faith is in the youngsters that are coming up now. I really feel like they have a handle on the situation. They don't see color. They don't see gender. They are, a lot of them. And I have a lot of faith that they are going to help to round things out. But like I said, you know, I look back and say in my lifetime, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to vote as a Black woman. I was 3 years old when we got the right to vote.
Wow.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So it takes time, and it takes, you know, people waking up and understanding. And I saw something this morning that said, this pandemic, I think, has shaken people too. We had become such a monolithic society, and everything was about the money. And now I think because people don't have money anymore, they're looking for more of a connection. And that's what's gonna, and we need to be shaken up like that, because that monetary thing is not a good look when that's all you care about. You don't care about people, you just care about money. And we had a lot of that going on.
And when you couple that with the mortality, I think that's the difference between now and what happened during the recession when everybody lost everything. There was no mortality aspect in the equation, and now it's both. It's now, dude, you could be dead next week, but dying a horrific death. Plus, now you ain't got no job. Now, you know, all this could happen to you. It seems like within a nanosecond these days, things can turn, you know, you could be doing great. And I hear it every day at work. I hear these stories of how people, you know, because once they lose their health insurance, then we get them. But then we hear the whole story of what they went through and how they got to this point. And it happened so freaking fast that some people just, honestly, they don't see it coming, you know? And so I think coupling those two together, it's really making an impact and shaking a lot of people up. On top of that, our political climate is in the toilet, our relations with each other, as far as race and who can you trust, just, you know, just everything is just at such a low.
And it's almost like, you know, I'm gonna take it there, almost like on a spiritual level. Like, I feel like all these things are meant to do that, you know, shake things up, to really, you know, to really get you to think in terms of like, what is the meaning behind my life? You know, what do I want to leave a legacy? You know, how can I affect my fellow man and, you know, bring some good in the world, you know, and really just an overall assessment of, why am I here? What am I doing?
It's like after a forest fire when there's total devastation, and then you see that one green little
sprout
coming up, then it's just like,
there's life after all of this.
You
know, there's life after all this.
So go ahead.
No, you wanted Dan to speak on something.
See, we can read each other's mind. We can read each other's mind. There's just one.
You have to share it.
So I was, and I tell people this all the time, understand when I get into a conversation with them, it could be a client, it could be anybody. And I think I've told you this. If I haven't, I should have by now. You are my only non-brown person skin because you're Mexican, so I don't want to say white.
I mean, you still got a little, you got color.
I don't
There's a little
want that
something
color.
happening. There's a little going on, right?
Yeah, I get it.
How do I say it? Non-brown skin looking dude.
Right. Not as dark, right? Lighter
Yeah.
shade of brown. You know what I'm saying?
That I know that has really, honestly, from your heart, tried to understand the white privilege situation. And out of all the people I know, and especially because of the three of our background, we know a ton of people. Out of all the people that I know, and you know, I love them all, so no shade to anybody, but this is just the truth. You're the only one that has taken the time, the energy, to learn about what exactly white privilege means. And I want you to speak to that. I want you to tell the people what what that's like.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting because, you know, I have a Mexican / Spanish background, so I've been able to hop back and forth in you know, the white world and you know, the brown skin world. One really quick story, something that happened years ago when I actually first met all of you. We were living in Lake Tahoe looking for a place to live, and Paul, who's another friend of ours, and Metoka and I were looking for a place together. And I remember calling somebody, because there was no internet. I called the newspaper ad and found a home. It was a few years ago.
Kids were watching this
I know. Found a place that we were interested in renting, the three of us, to live while we were working up there. And so the woman I spoke to was just very engaging. Oh yes, you got to come over. You're gonna love this place, and blah blah blah. And she really you know, was excited to meet us. So we went there. We drove there that next afternoon, knocked on the door, and knocked on the door again, and we could see her looking at us. And you know, at first I didn't get it, and Paul and Metoka explained to me, here's what's going on, Daniel, and explained to me she saw, you know, two black people and a kind of brown skinned guy walking up to her house, and she just was not interested. And it just really made an impact on me. So then flash forward all these years, you know, what I think that really all it has taken, it's been very simple for me. It's been very simple. And it should be simple for everybody, that all you need to do is listen. Just listen. You know, listen to what your friends are saying about their experience in this country and with life. You know, you would have to be completely devoid of any kind of empathy or compassion if you didn't hear and really understand what that experience has been. You know, and so that's just the first step. Just listen. And I'm fortunate to live in a really, you know, beautiful, quaint, charming city down here outside of Los Angeles. It's also very progressive because there are, you know, colleges clustered into the center of town. And I was in my living room and I heard this, you know, commotion of people cheering and horns and such outside. And I looked out my window and there was an actual march coming down my street. And so I ran out there and I joined the march, and they marched up to a park, and they had a rally there that was peaceful and beautiful. And it was just people standing up telling their stories. And, you know, again, it was really amazing. And then at some point, everyone sang "Give Peace a Chance." It was like a throwback to the 60s. And I thought, God, I felt so empowered and energized to be part of this and to do my little part to help. And so I've tried to do that. But again, it just starts with listening. I think everything else falls into place. If you listen with an open heart, there are no instructions. It just happens naturally.
And I love that you were talking about, I'm so sorry, Metoka, go ahead.
That's okay.
Oh,
I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say another thing to think of is to just put yourself in that person's shoes. That's what I think a lot of people never, I guess that's empathy. Like people never do that. They never think, what would I do if that was me?
Yeah.
They don't think like that.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, and I mean, just to piggyback on what both of you were saying, I mean, it's the humanity in this country. It's like, I mean, it's there. I just don't think it's almost like a untapped resource for some people, to teach people how to care about others. And
yeah, I think when Dan, you said listening, I think a lot of people don't know how to listen. When you're listening, it's not that you're hearing what the person is saying and then you're thinking about what you're going to say next. Listening is listening to what the person is saying with an open mind and an open heart, and without your own agenda involved in that listening process, and then responding that way. And that's probably the difference between, because
I agree.
I've had people tell me, I'm trying to understand all this. And I think to myself, no, you're not trying. You may not be trying on purpose, but you're not trying because you don't know what you're doing. And instead of saying, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing here, can you help me to understand? Okay, well, if I'm going to tell you, you need to listen to me, what I'm going to tell you, without your own agenda, upbringing, what your parents told you, what your teachers told you. You have to erase all of that and let that go, and then listen to what I'm telling you. Right? And then after you take that on board and you let it marinate, now the smart thing to do is start comparing it to what bring all that other stuff back in. Yeah. And start making it make sense, reconcile it that way with yourself, and then make your decision on what you're going to do and how you're going to proceed from there. And I think that's what you've done. And it's the same thing for us. When I hear something, who's that lady, with the short white hair and the glasses, and she's debunking everything we got taught. She's a professor, and oh golly, she's debunking everything we got taught in grade school about American history. She's the one that said that, yes, Lincoln emancipated the slaves, but he wouldn't give up his own slaves. She's the one. I
thought you were just making something up.
No, she's been on the talk show circuit. She's been she's all over YouTube. Oh, she's an older lady.
There's a history professor I've been listening to and reading about. She posts on Facebook every day. I don't know if that's who you're talking
about. What's her name?
There are people like, that lady, that lady.
Is she older, Lauren? Is she an older woman?
Yes.
Because I think she's the one that said that there are no races. There's just one race, and it's the human race.
Yes.
Oh,
I know. I don't know her name.
I know what she's talking about. I feel like this is a bad.
We're so sad. We're so sad.
Like, what?
We are sad.
I feel like we're trying to do charades, and it just wasn't working.
People are watching us going, no, that's just that. Damn shame up in there. They are.
When we figure it out, hopefully we can find a link to who we all
She's
figure
so
out.
fascinating. She's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Whoever she is.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you. Oh my gosh.
There's it's just the opportunities to evolve through this, through everything that's happening right now are there. To be totally honest, I didn't fully understand Black Lives Matter. I hate to admit that, but it's true because, I came from a very strong law enforcement family. And so I'm thinking, well, Blue Lives Matter as well. So I'm thinking that, like, yes, they do. But then you listen to what people are telling you and what their experiences are. Then it starts to understand, okay, so you're not saying blue lives don't matter or white lives don't matter. You're not saying that at all. What you're saying is, let's focus on this group of people who are experiencing some very tough times right now. And we need to support that. right? So that was definitely an evolution I went through.
I think
Totally
Well, it was
all in now.
it was also a thing of that they were being targeted.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, that's exactly it. It's not, blue lives have always mattered, white
Mhm.
lives have always mattered, Black lives have never mattered. And that's why it's Black. Oh, Nicole's got something.
She raised her hand like a
Yeah,
good
she
girl.
did. She raised her hand.
It's like that comparison, that analogy or whatever. I sucked at school.
Can you hear?
The like if there's a neighborhood full of houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one house is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The firemen come. They don't put water on all the houses because all houses matter. They put water on the house that's on fire because that's the house that needs to help the most.
Right.
Black people are
Exactly.
the ones that need help the most.
That's my
Yeah.
baby.
Our voice of
baby.
I love it.
see, Metoka, it's like you said, the youth of today are our
Yep.
hope.
That's
Right?
our future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Goodness.
You're right,
Baby. Yeah.
funny.
On that note, we're
Yeah.
trying to keep the podcast shorter, which we didn't.
We
Wish
never
we
did.
did it.
Oh my God.
We never did.
So wait, really quick before we wrap up. Now, Lauren, I know you voted Dropbox, right?
Yeah, we're actually Monday. We're doing our ballots tomorrow.
I dropped mine off.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
Hopefully not in a trash can.
Dan was like, oh wait, that's not.
Meanwhile, like an Oompa Loompa comes out,
That's not wait.
I have 5 more propositions to read through, and this is going out on Monday.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to go and vote in person just early. It's weird. I don't know what to do. But just a reminder to anybody that's watching this, if you have both a ballot and you decide that you want to go vote in person, bring your ballot with you. Because that's the only. Yeah.
Or your registration. They tried it with Steve Harvey. He went to vote and they said they obviously don't know who he is because on so many levels, this poor person is opening up themselves to so much ridicule. Anyway, so he goes to vote and he signs the book, and they go, I'm sorry, Mr. Harvey, your signatures don't match. And he was like, what? She goes, your signatures don't match. He said, whose does?
Right.
He said, you ain't gonna try this shit on me today. This is not gonna happen to me today. Okay? I'm me. That's my signature, and so is that. Now give me the thing so I can go.
And another quick tip, don't let them, if you do go vote in person, make sure nobody marks anything on your ballot before they give it to you. A check mark, an R, a D, nothing. Request another ballot before, if they do that.
They're not,
because they will not count those when it comes down to the wire. If there's an issue, your vote that's like that will not be counted.
And then also, if you're mailing in your ballot, put 2 stamps on it. So
post office.
Post office is forced to treat it as first class mail, not bulk mail. If you need stamps, contact me on any way. You can message me here on YouTube. Message me anyway. I will get you 2 stamps.
Yeah, I wish I would have known that.
And on that note, so yeah, put 2 stamps on it. I mean, it'll get there, but this ensures that it gets treated as first class mail.
Yeah. So. At the end of the day, what we're trying to get across is everybody go vote. Go vote. Go vote.
Absolutely.
So many choices.
Please.
You guys, thank you so much for being on this with us. It's so important. We are taking this podcast in another direction where it's not just about parenting. We had a meeting and decided, it's time to evolve a little bit after 16, 17 episodes on parenting. We will still do some parenting things, but we're not going to focus on that anymore. So we will definitely have you back. And thank you so much.
You
Oh,
guys
thank
have been
you.
so
Thank
great.
you.
Great. It
Thank
was so much
you.
fun. Thank
Yes,
you so
continued
much.
success to you. Keep doing this. Keep doing this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Virtual
Absolutely.
hugs, people.
Virtual hugs.
hugs.
Virtual hugs.
Don't hang up. I'm just gonna stop recording right now. So
Okay.
don't hang up.
Bye, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Listen, we
Bye.
forgot to sign up.
Go ahead, sign off.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
stop yet.
Okay. So anyway, everybody who's watching this or listening, please subscribe, like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Obviously, it's Appearance Truth as of right now. Follow us on Instagram. We have 3
Spotify.
different areas: Spotify, Apple, and Google Play. Right? So if you want to listen to us, if you're an Audible listener,
Yes.
that's redundant. Audible listener.
And rate our podcast. Yes.
Oh,
really
yeah,
important.
rate our podcast.
podcast. All right, you guys. Until next time, we have no idea what the next topic's going to be, but you know us. We'll think of something.
It'll be entertaining. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.